last 10 were as a Division I coach and recruiting coordinator. And one of the biggest reasons why I jumped into this job when our head coach retired in 2021 was to hopefully have the opportunity to have a positive impact on, instead of 40 guys on a college roster throughout a year, to have a positive impact on thousands across the country. I get to travel all over the country and talk to guys about the game of baseball. You can't beat that. But in this day and age, you guys play a lot until the first group fish. You play a lot. You don't practice as much as you should. You might not be getting as quality of instruction as you should. And that's why we structure the events the way we do. When I signed on to do this, I said, I'll do it, but I want it to be different than a typical showcase. I don't want a guy to just show up, get his metrics, get his video, let him play in a game, and leave. And if he didn't perform well, he has nothing to show for it. If he didn't perform great, there's nothing for him of value coming out of that. I want you to walk out of here tomorrow better than you walked in today, no matter how well or poorly you perform. The talk I'm fixing to give is part of that. All the instruction we do here on day one is part of that. If you were here in group one, you heard me. First thing I said to those coaches was the same thing I emailed them before this event. Same goal that I have, I want them to have. If they have knowledge they can pass on to you guys, if they have things that they see that will help make you better, I want them to feed that knowledge to you. Right? I don't want this to be a typical showcase experience. That's not what I'm in this for. I'm in this to try to help you guys ultimately get to where you want to be. Let's talk about some housekeeping things ahead of tomorrow, and then I'll dive into the meat of what I want to talk to you about. Number one, everybody that's at this event should check their email before they go to bed tonight. Everybody that's at this event should check their email before they go to bed tonight. You should have already received an email from me, kind of introducing myself, letting you know who I am, stuff like that. If you did not receive that email, check your junk mail folder, and if you still don't have it, you need to see me to make sure that we have the right email down for you. Now, why am I telling you to check your email? Because in an event like this, of this size, of this many dudes, when I have no shows, I might need to move some guys around in games. You might be in game one, I might need to move you to game two. You might be in game two, I might need to move you to game three. Everybody check their email. I do that to balance everything out so it makes it easier and more efficient to accomplish our goals tomorrow. What are our goals tomorrow? Every hitter gets 3 at-bats. That's goal number one. We want to make sure every hitter gets 3 at-bats. We want to make sure that our POs get ample opportunity to showcase what they can do, our secondary guys to get ample opportunity showcasing what they can do. Tomorrow during the games, every at-bat will start with a 1-1 count. If you walk or get hit by a pitch, first time it happens to you personally on the day, you'll take your base. If it happens the second time, I'll tell you to stay in the box, pitcher will have to throw a fastball only until you swing and miss, take a strike, or put one in play. You know what's coming, so we shouldn't swing and miss or take a strike in that scenario. All pitchers will warm up in the same bullpen that we threw in today, the inning before they're scheduled to pitch while their team is on defense. When you get into the dugout, there's going to be a grid hanging up in there. It'll have inning by inning, position by position, exactly where you're supposed to be every inning. Make sure you're paying attention to that. Do not go warm up while your team is hitting, because your catcher runs the risk of missing an AB. If you're a two-way guy, you run the risk of missing an AB, and then you back everything up down there. We will take your video in the bullpen tomorrow, so make sure you don't leave there until someone's gathered video on you. Every inning will change on my call of last hitter. Not 3 outs. I do everything based off of pitch count. You're in a very late point of your summer. Right? We want to make sure that nobody's getting overtaxed in this environment. So my POs will hit a certain pitch count, my two-way guys will hit a certain pitch count, and I've got to figure out the math and balance all that out to also make sure everybody on the team gets 3 at-bats. All right? And I'll make sure that I do that, but just make sure you stay out on defense until I call last hitter. If for some reason tomorrow you look at the grid, it's hanging up in the dugout, and you're not playing the position you're supposed to play. That's why I check them on day one. That's why when I check you in, I get your positions so that I can make sure when I do the grids tonight, I've got them right. But for some reason, I make a mistake. It happens. Something happens. Come tell me. Come tell me right away. I'll fix it. Don't find anybody else. Find me. and I'll fix it and make sure we get it done right. All right, don't be like the guy in Georgia a couple years ago whose name wasn't on the lineup, and he never said anything. Mom comes up and taps me on the shoulder at the end of the second day. Coach, how many at-bats are guys supposed to get? 3. She's like, my son hasn't hit yet. I said, where is he? He's catching. So I went up to him. I said, hey, man, you haven't hit? He said, no, sir. I was like, why not? He's like, I hit so bad yesterday, I didn't think y'all wanted me to hit today. I'm like, that's not how it works. Everybody's going to get their at-bats. So if there is a mistake tomorrow, come see me. All right, now, things I can't fix, things I can't correct. If I didn't check you in as a pitcher today, you will not pitch tomorrow. We got a ton of dudes pitching in this event. If I didn't check you in as a pitcher today, you won't throw tomorrow. And if you come to me and say, hey, coach, can I throw? I'm not going to have room for you to throw. Jam-packed event. So just make sure we're all on the same page about that. A couple questions I get all the time. Coach, I'm still having issues with my player profile. Couple things. Number one, if you've been to an event before, you will not get another email about your player profile. You already have one. You have one from the past. These new metrics will upload into that profile. If you don't remember the address to get to that profile, email me, and I'll go on the back end, I'll grab the address, and I'll shoot it to you. Maybe this is your first event. You still don't have access to it. Sometimes, and I don't know anything about the player profiles, but I can see them on the back end, but sometimes those are built out after an event. Metrics go in, player profile gets built out, and you're able to access it once the stats are sent out. Stats from this event will be sent out by the end of the week. That's generally how that works. Videos take about 3 weeks to get uploaded, finished. My guy edits them, does all that stuff. All right, so those are some common questions that I get a lot about those type of things. Any other questions that I did? Oh, one other thing. If you don't know what team you're on, see me before you leave. Do not walk out of here without knowing what team you're on. Now, there are a couple of guys that signed up last minute who have not been assigned a team yet, and I won't be able to assign you a team until I see who all my no-shows were and kind of see where I need your position at. So for those guys that signed up late, come see me. I want to get your cell phone so that I can text you, let you know exactly what team you're on. If you don't know what team you're on, see me before you leave so that I can tell you. But once again, I reiterate one more time. Make sure you check your email before you go to bed in case I need to move guys around to balance things out. Do not go to bed without checking that email. And I will email every email address that you guys put in there if I need to make any adjustments or changes. All good on that? All right. Real quick, let's dive into the meat of what I want to talk to you guys about. 2 things that I think, if you understand these things and you accomplish these things and you develop these abilities and habits, you have a chance to win in the recruiting process. A recruiting process that, let's make no bones about it, is harder than it's ever been for a high school player. Never, than right now, has it been more difficult for a high school player. Why is that? Well, number one, roster sizes are shrinking across the country. Division I roster shrink, that means everybody else gets a cavalcade of players from that level all the way down. Programs are getting cut, but now because they're having to deal with this NIL money situation. So there are less opportunities out there for high school guys. Statistics used to say 5% of high school baseball players went on to play college baseball. I would say now that's down to 3% or less. And the reason being because those opportunities are shrinking for high school guys. Now coaches can go in the transfer portal. They can get a guy that's older than you, bigger than you, stronger than you, faster than you, more experienced in life and in college than you. And that's the choice they're making because at the end of the day, for a lot of these guys, their job's on the line. They got to win or they don't have a job anymore. So they want to make sure they go with the safest bet, the safest investment. So you got to understand that first. But here are the 2 ingredients that I feel like if you can get these things, and even in that tough environment, you can win the recruiting process. The first one is true belief. If you want anybody to believe in you, you first got to believe in yourself. If you want a coach, a spouse, a boss in the future to believe in you, you have to first believe in yourself and you have to exude that belief before others will believe in you. Now, when I talk about belief, I don't talk about fake belief. There's a lot of people that walk around with that. And then when the game of baseball or the game of life punches them in the face, they start running away. They start backing down. Well, Sylvester Stallone said it best in Rocky VI. If you want to win in anything that you do, you got to take the hits and keep moving forward. And let me tell you, baseball is a game that'll give you the hits. The best that have ever played this game fail 7 out of 10 times and they go to the Hall of Fame. The game of baseball will give you the hits. Life, for some people, gives them the hits. But it's all about, can you keep moving forward? That's how winning is done. And with true belief, you can keep moving forward. There's 3 ingredients that go into it. The first, positive self-talk. A lot of you guys walk around here saying that I can't do this, I can't do that, I stink, I suck. And guess what? All of that negative that you're breathing out into the world becomes the reality you find yourself in. It becomes your existence. If you're a teammate of somebody, or a parent of somebody, or a brother or a sister of somebody, you hear them say that, cut that off. Say, remember what Coach Fowler said. Flip the script on that negative self-talk and turn it into something positive. I can do this. I will get this done. I am good. Because just as easy as you speak that negativity into existence, you can speak positivity into existence as well. There's a lot of negative influences around you. Social media, maybe the opposite dugout, a lot of trash talk going on in high school and travel baseball these days. Block that out. Doesn't matter what others say about you. Because you've got to say the right things to yourself first. The second thing that it takes to have true belief, second ingredient, visualization. What are you visualizing in your head about yourself? Are you worried all the time about failure? Are you worried about being the worst version of yourself, of making an error when the game's on the line, of giving up the big hit when the game's on the line, of striking out when the game's on the line? Or is the picture that you're painting in your head of you being the hero, you getting the big hit, you getting the big punch out? Because let me tell you something, whatever you paint in here happens out there. Whatever you paint in here ends up being your reality. The game of baseball is a game that lends itself to a lot of opportunity for visualization. When you're in the dugout between at bats, in this showcase environment, when you're not going, you got time to visualize yourself being great. We set things up the way we do at our events so that every coach here, all 30 whatever of them that are in that dugout, can evaluate every single player and every single thing that they do. A lot of events you go to, the coaches are working so much and doing so many things, they can't evaluate guys. So that lends itself to a little bit of downtime at times for players to take advantage of visualization. I'm giving you 2 stories about the power of visualization. The first involves me, high school player, just like you guys. Only difference for me, my house was where those trees are. My high school baseball field was right there. I was there all the time, even when I didn't have guys to go down there with. I was always down there. When I didn't have people to go with, I'd throw the ball up, I'd hit it, I'd pretend like I got the game-winning hit, run the bases, celebrate, whole 9 yards. What I didn't know I was doing was I was preparing myself for a point in my senior year, playoff game, bases loaded, 2 outs, last inning, game on the line. I got the big hit. After the game, the reporter asked, how'd you do it? And I said, I visualized this happening all the time. I had no idea what visualization was all about. I had no idea about its power. But those are the words that came out of my mouth. I still have the article to this day. I never envisioned myself striking out, slammed my bat, went back to the dugout, threw my helmet, and cussed. I wasn't envisioning that. I was always the hero of my imagination. So when the moment collided with what I'd always seen, it was easy to be successful. I'm going to give you the flip side of it. A couple weeks ago, I'm down in Panama City. I got a 9-year-old daughter. I coach her softball team. I'm down in Panama City with her. We're in our bracket game. We're down 3, 2 outs, nobody on. She's coming up to the plate, and for the first time in my life, in her life that I've ever seen in any competition, and she's had a lot of it, she's crying. She's already crying walking up to the plate because she's thinking about it being over. I said, baby, you can't think about it being over. All you can control is hitting the ball hard right here. Baseball is a game of the present. If you spend your time in the future or the past, you're going to fail in that moment. And she was thinking about the future. She was thinking about it being over. She didn't want it to be over. She gets attached like I do. I coached college baseball for 20 years. I've coached her teams. Man, and I hate the end of any season. Because I know that next year it's not going to be the same bunch. It's not always going to be the same. So she's thinking about it being over. She comes up, she grounds out, game over. The next week, we had that conversation. The next week, she comes up in the same spot. Different tournament, bracket game. We're down a few runs. She comes up in that same spot. But when I turn around to look at her this time, and this is the last time she'll play with some of these girls, when I turn around and look at her this time, she's laughing and smiling. I'm like, she's in a good spot. She comes up, smashes one up the middle. That's the difference. Visualize yourself being the worst version of yourself or failing, you're going to fail. Visualize yourself being the best version of yourself, you've got a better chance to succeed. But here's the final ingredient to true belief, the one that separates the guys that want to be from the guys that end up being. You can't shortchange this. There's no way around this. And it's hard work. Here's the litmus test if you want to define if you work hard enough or not. I told you, 3% go on to play college baseball. Are you outworking the other 97% of players across the country? If the answer is no, then you have work to do. If you're not working hard enough, don't expect to move on. Another way you can tell if you're working hard enough, what have you sacrificed for baseball? What have you sacrificed lately for the game of baseball? Have you sacrificed time with your friends, time with your girlfriend, time with your families? Have you sacrificed time on video games? Because without sacrifice, there is no hard work. There's got to be sacrifice. I'm going to tell you about a young man who made some sacrifices here recently and how big it paid off for him. There was a young man in Georgia that was being scouted a lot by a lot of different pro teams. And one of the pro teams called a buddy of mine and said, hey, we need a turf field to work this guy. The Giants called him, we need a turf field to work this guy out. Can we come use your high school field to work this guy out? He said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. So the Giants are coming in to watch this kid work out. Unbeknownst to them, one of the guys that plays at the high school that my buddy coaches at in Georgia, just going in to get on an off day to get his work in, get his long toss in, get his throwing in. He's putting in hard work. He didn't have a teammate to go throw with him. Guess who he went through with? His girlfriend. His girlfriend went long toss with him. The Giants saw his arm strength and were like, hey dude, you want to work out with this guy that's fixing to be drafted in the first round next week? Yeah, I'll work out with him. Gets up there, hits like 12 bombs. Now the Giants are getting this dude invited to everything. East Coast Pro, area code games, all the prestigious events around the country, this dude's getting invited to because he showed up on an off day to work hard. That's how simple it can be. That's how easy it can happen. But you got to be willing to put in the work. You combine those three ingredients, positive self-talk, visualization, hard work. In my opinion, with true belief, you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish in life or in the game of baseball. But that's where it starts. You have to have that. It's a daily thing that you have to work on each and every day. Talk positive to yourself. Visualize yourself being great. Put in the work. You do that each and every day, you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. Second thing you got to understand about winning in the recruiting process, one simple phrase, you got to take care of business. You got to take care of business. A couple places you got to take care of business. Number one, in the classroom. If you're not taking care of business in the classroom, you close the doors down for yourself before coaches ever know who you are. Remember, coaches want to make wise investments. It is not a wise investment to invest in a guy that's not taking care of business in high school classes. Take care of business in the classroom. Second place you got to take care of business is off the field. Real easy question to ask yourself to determine if you're taking care of business off the field. Is there anybody in your life, anybody at all, that can say something negative about you and it be true? If the answer to that question is yes, you are not taking care of business off the field, because you never know who comes into contact with a college coach that ultimately comes into contact with you. Could be the girl at McDonald's that messed up your order that you got mad at. Could be the person that you got mad at because they were driving slow in the fast lane and you flew around them and you flicked them off. Could be the coach's wife. You never, ever know. But if you live by the golden rule, treat everybody the way you want to be treated, you got nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. If you live by the golden rule, treat others the way that you want to be treated, then everybody you come in contact with will have something positive to say about you. Because here's how it works. Several years back, I was recruiting a young man that went to high school with my niece. I didn't call the coach. I didn't call the travel ball coach. I called my niece. I said, boo-boo, find out everything you can about this guy. She calls me back a couple hours later. Uncle, good kid. Everybody likes him. Stays out of trouble. All I needed to hear. Offered him a scholarship and came to play for me. Had that conversation went differently, I went on down the road. I went to somebody else. You got to take care of business off the field. But taking care of business off the field is not just about these men wearing these blue and navy and red and white jerseys. It's about the people standing next to them, mom and dad. You have to take care of business off the field too. I've been giving this talk for 25 years. I hit on this every single time. The very first time I wrote it down on an outline, my boss was like, "You're going to say that?" I'm saying, "You dadgum right, I'm going to say it because they need to hear it." It only takes one moment of anger, one moment of frustration. You yell at an umpire. You're talking trash about a coach in the stands. I'll tell you a great one. Happened to me this weekend. Daughter's softball tournament. I'm sitting in a chair right here. My daughter's game's over, but she's playing the next game on the same field. I walk over to make sure she's okay because she's picking up with a team she's never played with for the first time. She's okay. I come back. These people are throwing my chair out of the way. I said, "Excuse me, like, why'd you move my chair?" They're like, well, we're playing here. I'm like, "My daughter's playing here." "Well, she's on that side. You need to go over there." I'm like, you don't touch other people's stuff. Like, that's not how this works. But in my eyes now, I would never recruit that daughter, ever. Because here's what coaches think: the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The mom that yelled at the umpire, by the time the third coach hears the story, it's not just that she yelled at the umpire anymore. She takes it to the parking lot, she punched him in the nose, she got Holloway in handcuffs, the story blows up, and ultimately, all that time, effort, money, everything you've invested in these young men since they hit a ball off a tee is wasted because you couldn't control yourself. And the funny thing is, when I say this at an event, the players look at each other. They know who mom and dad I'm talking about. If that's you, make the decision today to not be the one that holds your young man back. I have seen a lot of kids. They're like, "Man, why is he not being recruited?" And then I see mom or I see dad. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." Don't be the one that holds them back. The last place you got to take care of business, gentlemen, is on the field. You got to be good enough. The showcase environment is a great environment to determine, hey, am I good enough? You're going to get these metrics back. And here's the path and the course for you when you get them back. Some guys will look at the metrics and they'll make excuses. I run faster than that. Well, guess what? This ain't a perfect game, and I ain't throwing out a 58-yard 60 or a 55-yard 60. I'm not letting the catcher stand up and throw from a standing position. These metrics are going to be actual real metrics that these coaches are taking, and they're guys that I trust and I believe in. Now, I videoed the 60. If there's a discrepancy, I'll go back and I'll put my watch on it. I'll try to make sure we get it right. But you have one option. You can be an excuse maker, or you can be a difference maker. Let me tell you about a young man that's a difference maker. At 16 years old, he played for me, one of the first travel ball teams I ever coached. When he ran his 60 for the first time, it was a 7.6. He wanted to play at Florida State University because his dad played at Florida State University. There was a 7.6 and he was a middle infielder, and I said, "Hey man, I'm going to be honest with you, that's not going to get you there. You got great hand-eye coordination. You got great bat speed. You're a really good left-handed hitter, but that's going to hold you back." He didn't whine about it. He didn't say, "Oh, that time was wrong. I'm really a 6'8". He said, "I'm going to do something about it." He was the first guy to show up every single day. He was the last guy to leave every single day. Not only did that young man end up going to Florida State University, he ended up playing center field at Florida State University, turning that 7'6" into a 6'6", becoming all ACC, becoming the ACC Player of the Year, becoming a first-round draft pick, and now you call him the head coach at Georgia Tech University. His name is James Ramsey. That's a guy that didn't look at those metrics and say, "I'm better than that." He looked at those metrics. It was a slap in his face, and he said, "I got to get better." And he put in the work to do that. But you got to be good enough. You got to take care of business on the field. Last thing that it means to take care of business on the field, you got to be a great teammate. You got to be a great teammate. Don't be the guy that's rooting for your teammates to fail. Don't be the guy that's all about you. The guy that has a bout out and gets pissed off, storms off the field, don't want to shake any of his teammates' hands. Be a good teammate. Because right now, in this day and age, that could be the difference maker between the guy that gets a shot and the guy that doesn't. The guy that's loyal, the guy that hadn't bounced around to 15 different teams by the time he gets to college level. That could be the difference maker in this day and age. You never know what's going to be the difference maker. And I'm going to show you an example of that right here. Every event that we have across the country is a chance to qualify for our MLB stadium events. We have one at Angel Stadium in Anaheim this year, and we have one at Arizona Diamondbacks Chase Field in Arizona. The guys that stand out in the most positive way get invites to those events. The guys that stand out in the most positive way get invites to those events. It doesn't always mean they throw the hardest, they run the fastest, they hit the hardest. It doesn't always mean that. It's the guys that stand out to me in the most positive way. There's some guys that have done that here today, and it has nothing to do with anything that they did on the field. All to do with how they carried themselves. Every guy that I checked in today, I made note of one thing. When I asked you what position you play, if the answer was yes, sir, coming back to me, I made note of that. So if it comes down to a couple of guys, and I'm trying to figure out who to give an invite to, the guy that I got down and saying yes, sir, over the guy that didn't, that's the guy I'm going to give the invite to. You never know what coaches value. You never know how they value things. So make it a habit to talk to them with respect. You didn't know I was going to be the guy running the event. You didn't know that I was the guy that's in this park. He probably has the longest coaching career. Super regional appearances, guys that have played in the big leagues. You had no idea. You thought I was the check-in guy. But that's why I do it. So I can be up front. I can be the first thing you see. I want to see not only how you interact with me, but how you interact with mom and dad. That's important. Everything matters in the recruiting process these days. Don't give a coach a reason to cross your name off. Don't give a coach a reason. I started a recruiting consultation business along with what I do with InTheUS several years back. The reason I did it is because guys go these days hearing a lot of what they want to hear. Okay, a lot of what they want to hear. The metrics you get back from our events will be what you need to hear. The first thing I do with any of my clients is I do an evaluation. I tell them not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. There's a young man in this room whose brother was a client of mine. I tell them what they need to hear, because the longer they go without hearing what they need to hear, the less time you have to do something about it. Your high school coaches don't want to tell you that because they're afraid you're going to leave. Your travel ball coaches don't always want to tell you that because they're afraid you're going to leave. But you need to hear things so that you can do something about it. If I can ever help you guys in any way, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You have my email address, InTheUS Trey at yahoo.com. My Twitter handle is STF. That's Stephen Trey Fowler 3333. Stephen Trey Fowler 3333. STF 3333. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I tell you, and I mean it, that I'm in this business to help guys like you get to where you want to be. You got player development related questions, fire them away at me. You got recruiting related questions, fire them away at me. That's what I'm here for. Here's what we got. If you're in session 1 and you're leaving and you don't know what team you're on, come see me so I can tell you. If you're in session 2, head down to the third base dugout. You don't need anything. No hats, no gloves, no glasses, nothing. We're going to stretch in right field. Sit your stuff down and then meet me in right field. And I'll tell you what we're doing. Session 1, guys, come see me if you need me.